In this video, I'm going to transform GTA 4 into an unrecognizable game by turning it into an ultimate hood life simulator. Just roaming around the poor neighborhoods in Liberty City in the vanilla version of the game is already making you feel uneasy. But with these mods, you'll either have to settle in or get dragged into the dangerous street life. Today we'll be covering AI behavior upgrades, intense gunfight enhancements, new hood activities, and much more. Let's dive into the first chapter. These are 5 gangs in Liberty City, each with its own lore. But you know what they also have in common? They have no purpose. I mean, think about it. Other than standing around and adding on to the environment, they really do nothing. So this is why Potential Grim by Lord Criminal is an absolute essential. Let me demonstrate how it works. I was just heading to my favorite burger shop, my natural habitat, cosplaying as Biggie Smalls, until I saw Julio. Who's Julio, you might ask? He's a part of the Spanish Lords group. Julio doesn't like me very much. Maybe it's because I'm with the North Holland Hustlers, or maybe because I have eyes and he doesn't. Anyways, I was completing the hardest task of the week, getting up the stairs, and as I was out of breath, he started shouting at me.
Be careful, motherfucker. What's up, dog? Very careful. Only one way to deal with problems like that.
So I stood my ground and stepped up to him. Not because I was brave, but because I really wanted that burger. And I wasn't gonna let anybody get in the way of that. So while I was fighting for my life, with sweat trickling down my cheeks in this hot ass weather, suddenly to my surprise, Julio's cousin, Alejandro, shows up. He's also a part of the Spanish Lords. This is why they're now beating me up. So as I'm being pushed inside the burger shop, still fighting for my life, I got surprise attacked again by another Spanish Lord. And just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, while I'm getting my ass beat by 3 people, the burger shop employee's just standing there, watching like it's the most normal day ever.
I don't get paid enough for this shit.
So back to the fight. Long story short, I got killed because Potential Grim now makes enemies actually hostile towards each other. What's great about this is that you don't even have to be the one cosplaying as Biggie Smalls. Just walk around the poorer neighborhoods of Liberty City for a minute, and you'll likely see some hood activities committed by NPCs. I mean, check this out. I was outside for just 1 minute, casually walking around, and I found this guy who wasn't paying attention to the road. The big dude pulls him out of the car and starts fighting him, and the friend comes and saves the day. This is just one of the many things that can happen inside of this mod. Sometimes, things like these can even turn into gunfights or knife fights. And while I was still witnessing all this, I turned my head and saw even more thugs fighting. But this mod isn't just great for making this gang system more logical. It's also fantastic for its spawn location tweaks. Look at this comparison between day and night. At night, gang members are still very active. They also patrol in their cars more frequently, making it riskier to drive around, since crashing into them can lead to trouble. The increased gang presence means you'll also encounter these groups more often, also in areas you usually won't find them. The streets feel more alive and dangerous, whether it's night or day. It's absolutely amazing. There's much more to cover, but I think you got the point of why this mod is such an essential for this video. Let's take a look at various pedestrians' actions. This mod does a lot to improve the overall feel of the NPCs. They no longer feel like lifeless and boring individuals. It feels more like they have their own little lives going on. You'll now see them using their phones more often, chatting with each other, eating, drinking, and engaging in more everyday activities. More pedestrians now populate the streets, especially in busy areas, making the poor neighborhoods feel even more like a community instead of a lifeless area no one explores. We have 2 additional small mods that you can download to enhance the feeling of poverty and realism inside of Liberty City. First up is Tweak All the Pets. This mod upgrades the textures of all 335 pedestrians, improving the quality of their faces, bodies, and clothes. Look, even Julio has eyes now. Drunken Pets lets you encounter drunk pedestrians walking around Liberty City. They can now urinate in random places or stumble into people, adding on to the chaotic vibe of the city. These mods don't really do that much, but they are a nice touch of realism onto our game. Welcome to Chapter 2, Weapon Enhancements. To create the ultimate hood life experience, it's crucial for us to overhaul the gunplay. Without these mods, the game would just turn into a John Wick vs. Thug simulator. We need to balance the playing field, but that's not the only change necessary. We also need to aim for the highest level of realism, because let's be honest, the default GTA 4 gun system feels like toy guns and look like Lego blocks. And that is why we are introducing these key mods to change that entirely. Let's start with realistic weapon models. I did some research and I found the most common weapons involved in criminal activity in between 2001 and 2009. I replaced a bunch of weapon models to reflect these findings. If you want to find the full list of the guns, join my Discord server where I've included a spreadsheet with all the details. Now let's dive into two different mods, bullet spread and recoil fix. With the bullet spread and recoil fix mods, you can see how much trouble I'm having controlling the bullet spread and recoil while firing an AK-47 from a distance. The kickback is intense and each shot strays unpredictably. Here's a side-by-side comparison. The difference is striking. These mods make gunfights much more tougher. After this, you'll think twice before facing a group. Every shot feels so much more intense. As you may have seen from the previous footage, I've disabled the crosshair with the no crosshair mod. I could have shown you some really fancy crosshair mods to enhance the overall look, but since we are aiming for absolute realism, no crosshair is a game changer. I cannot stress how hard it is to kill someone from long or even close range. So by the end of this video, if you want to feel totally immersed in the game, you're going to want this mod installed. Next up is Kilo's realistic weapon damage and ammunition. This mod significantly overhauls the damage system, making every bullet count. For example, while spraying with your automatic weapon, a single bullet might just end it all without you even noticing, making the guns feel much more powerful. Here's a side-by-side comparison. I enabled the crosshair just to show you how ridiculously long it takes to drop someone in the vanilla game. It took a total of 5 shots to the stomach for him to finally drop, and with the mod installed, it only took 2. So as you can see, this is a total game changer. We've talked about balancing the playing field, but so far, we haven't fully achieved it. Well, that's not entirely true, because the previous mod also applies to you, making you take much more damage than before. However, that alone wasn't enough to convince me that I wasn't superior to other pedestrians. So, I installed Bullet Impact Euphoria. This mod introduces realistic ragdoll effects and damage reactions, making every impact feel intense. Whether you're shot or hit, you'll now ragdoll just like every other pedestrian. This mod makes getting hit absolutely lethal. If you're not careful about where you're getting shot from, it might just be the last time you stand up. It's a game changer that amplifies the challenge and realism in every encounter. The next mod we'll be diving into is Bleed and Heal. This mod takes realism to the next level by adding dynamic health management to your gameplay. When you're critically injured, you'll continuously lose health until you find medical assistance. Your character behaves as if they're genuinely hurt, adding a layer of immersion. Our next mod is Rivers of Blood, which drastically enhances the blood effects. In the vanilla game, blood effects are minimal and disappear very quickly, which doesn't add much to the immersion. With Rivers of Blood, you'll see a significant upgrade. Blood spatters are now more detailed and puddles stay on the ground for much longer, creating a more realistic and gritty atmosphere. But what makes these blood effects even more immersive is experiencing them in a whole new perspective. Let's take a look at the first person mod. I've been using the first person mod to record the gameplay you just saw, and it really pulls you into action. And you might have noticed how great that clip sounds, from the gunfire to the reloads. Well, before we move on, I should confess something. I might have added some fancy sound effects to that clip.
You need to leave!
But don't let that discourage you from trying our next mod, Realistic Weapon Sounds by McKeever. Just have a listen for yourself. Pretty cool, right? Alright then, moving on. Weapon weight mod changes the way you carry and move with your gun. It slows your movement based on the weight of your guns, ammo, and cash. You can hurry by using Alt, which increases your speed but uses adrenaline. Larger weapons and cash are now stored inside of a backpack and not in your invisible pockets. Additionally, This mod allows you to drop weapons and armor using specific keys. You might be wondering who that handsome man is stepping outside of the limousine in front of a strip club. But that's me, and no, I'm not here for self-gratification. I'm here for business. Ever wanted to run the streets of Liberty City with Farnsworth business mod? Now you can. I just dropped $692,000 on the strip club. But this isn't even my only hustle. This mod lets you own multiple businesses across the city. Let me show you what else I got. Not only did I scoop up this strip club, but I also had a laundromat and a clothing store. The clothing store was just a front to clean my dirty money. And the laundromat, that is where I stored my dirty money. But then things went south. One day while I was out, I got a call. My laundromat had been shot up by some old enemies. By the time I got there, they had found my stash and I was slapped with an arrest. 6 years inside and I lost everything. My businesses got robbed and lunatics killed my employees. That's a real risk with this mod. Now without no diploma and no work experience, what can a guy like me do? It's been a long fall from owning businesses to picking up trash. But if your character got the skills and experience, you can still take home more advanced jobs with this mod. Unfortunately for me, it's going to be a bit more garbage work until I can get back on my feet. In the underworld of Liberty City, there's always work if you're willing to get your hands dirty. But not every job fits the gritty, realistic hood experience we're aiming for. That's why I've rated the missions inside of the GTA 4 mission mod pack based on a few factors. Like the numbers of enemies, how likely a higher up would assign this task, how long it would take to complete before the cops show up, and overall realism. Now let's see how they stack up. First up, here's a mission that feels right at home in the streets. A simple job where you steal a car for Simeon. This kind of task is realistic because it's low risk, doesn't attract too much police attention, and is something a low-level gang member could easily be assigned to. It's quick, straightforward, and perfectly fitting for the profile of typical street-level job. Now let's move on to the more extreme side of things. Here's a mission that completely is over the top. You're tasked with stealing a truck from a group of about 30 armed guards. But here's where it gets ridiculous. The moment you even think about aiming at them, they all turn around simultaneously and start lighting you up. And get this, these guys all look almost identical with only 3 different faces among them. It's like fighting an army of clones, but once you finally get the truck, the craziness does not stop. Tell me why these green goblins roll up in civilian cars, Uzis blazing, like they just watched this tutorial on how to be thugs in Liberty City. Now I'm not knocking the mod creator. After all, the goal wasn't necessarily to create a realistic mission pack. But when we're talking about realism, this one just doesn't fit the bill. So with that in mind, I hope you now get the point of the list. Alright now, let's move on to the next mod. Looks like just another rainy night at the burger shop. But we're not here for the fries. We're here to make sure that everyone in this burger shop is gonna remember this exact night. I'm tired of the bald guy Simeon taking all my money. We not stealing cars from him anymore. Welcome to the robbery mod. This mod lets you rob all the burger shop and Clucking Bell locations. I hit up a burger shop and scored $3,126. And after a high-speed chase with the cops hot on my tail, I burned the getaway vehicle to erase any trace. The money we just made is gonna come to great use, especially with the next mod needing some serious funds. We're back at it, setting up our next move in Liberty City. This time, it's all about taking what we've got and flipping it into the streets. That $3,126 from the last job is going straight into the interactivity mod, where we can really put this to work. You're more likely to find homeless people that want some product rather than wealthy buyers in penthouses. But this drug money doesn't always come in easy. Some people will turn you down, and a few might even start a fight. And then there are the snitches. They'll call the cops. But we're here for the ones that are ready to buy, whether it's just a few grams or the heavy stuff. If someone asks for more than you've got, you'll need to decide whether you're gonna get more supplies or wait for the next deal. But if the street hustle isn't enough, or if you're just not built for slinging products, there's always another way to prove your worth. It might be time to start taking on the dirty work for your crew. Paid hits that will have you earning some serious cash with the assassination mod. This mod lets you step into the role of a hitman for your gang. You'll pull in between $7,500 and $15,000 per hit with extra cash for going the extra mile. Let me show you an example. I got the call. The target is a woman in sunglasses. I'll get extra cash if I kill with a knife, but I'm not getting that close. After some driving, I finally spot her. I have no clue what she did, but that's none of my concern. I pull over and figure out how I'll make my move. I decide to keep my distance as I approach, moving casually, all while keeping my eyes on her. I keep my deagle hidden behind the trash cans, and when she sees me, I open fire. 2 shots miss, almost hitting a civilian, but the third one drops her before she can even react. Now with the job done, I'm back in the car, gone before they can even realize what happened. We set out to turn GTA 4 into the ultimate hood life simulator, and we did just that. If you're down for a part 2, let me know. There's always more to explore and plenty of mods left to showcase. This video took a lot of time, effort, and money to create. And yes, I said money. Our subscriptions is going through the roof. So if you could drop a like, that's all I'm asking for. All the mods will be linked inside the Discord server down below, with every chapter organized for you. I also added some extra mods that didn't make it into the video, but are definitely worth checking out. That's it for today. I hope you'll join along for the next mod showcase. Peace out.